Hello out there. My name is Laolu Akonde, and you are on to Inside Sources. Today I'm reporting close to the New Jersey Stadium, where the next World Cup game is coming up in 2 days. I'm talking about the knockout round of 32. But also later today in the show, I'll be featuring Ambassador Kayode for his first interview as Nigeria's ambassador to the United States. But first, here is my take for today, entitled State Police: An Opportunity for a Fresh Start. Now that the idea of state police has garnered the right attention in the right places, and we have a national consensus on its adoption, let us be careful to realize that this is also an opportunity for us to fix the many challenges of policing in Nigeria. While giving the states an opportunity to be in charge of their own internal security, not waiting for the IGP in Abuja, is desirable, there are also other game-changing initiatives that we must employ to actually transform policing in our country. For instance, let's talk about how to prevent abuse of the power of the state police. And this is key. Now, we know that there is abuse at the federal authority, as we have had in our experience. When we decentralize the control, we risk proliferating that abuse in 36 states. We cannot replace one distant center of misuse with 36 ones. So how do we guard against that? First, we must make sure that the state assemblies have real oversight power and they are more independent of their governors so that they can manage issues of hiring and firing. Second, there ought to be a state police council in each of the states where we have leaders of thought to share the powers with the governor. Such a council would then share the responsibility, for instance, of hiring and firing the commissioner of police with the governor. Now, that council will also have statutory powers to oversight police abuse and other issues. Now, we know that such abuses in the past led to the massive 2020 NSAS protest. So we got to look at it very carefully. We need to use this opportunity to make sure that we have a police that serve the entire Nigerians, not just the elites and politicians. If we build police that the people can own, then the credibility of that institution becomes notable and the people can really trust it. That is why we cannot leave the control of the state police in the hand of one politician. Now, another fundamental thing that we need to pay attention to is fixing the welfare crisis in the police. Funding has to be dramatically overhauled. For instance, we must critically address the plight of the average Nigerian police officer. What does that mean? It means that we should raise morale through improved pay, timely pensions, and decent housing and health care for the police officer and the family. It means we must refine the training to include modern investigative techniques and technology. It means we have to repackage the kitting of the policeman so that they are dignified. It means that we have to transform their equipment by replacing obsolete communication gear and give them the best that is available. It means that we should overhaul the entire funding of the policing system in the country with joint state and federal government contributions that is not influenced by politics. It means that when we have a well-fed officer who is dignified, there can be trust between the police and the people. Then we need to recruit enough numbers. The UN ratio, for instance, is 1 police officer to 450 citizens. That's about 222 to 100,000 people. Now, I'd like to conclude this with a story of what is possible when we get this right. I remember in the late 80s, during the Babangida administration, that Professor Wole Soyinka played an active role in the formation of a paramilitary organization, that is the FRRC. It was an opportunity that showed us that such a paramilitary organization could be set up with firm ethical standards and disciplines that cannot be gainsaid. Then Nigerians relished a paramilitary organization that was delivering to the people. For instance, according to the Voice of Nigeria, the first decade of the FRSC from 88 to 98 was devoted to laying a solid foundation for the organization and raising awareness that could convince every Nigerian that the FRSC was not just business as usual. Offenders were apprehended and they were made to pay. There were video clips of traffic clashes and everybody behaved themselves. I think Nigeria has another opportunity, just as when FRSC was formed, to rework our policing system to meet the expectations of Nigerian people. If we combine a good oversight system and we have a police that the people can own, then we can truly move forward with a police that Nigerians can truly trust. We cannot allow this opportunity of a crisis in our security situation not to fix the police entirely, now that all of us seem to agree that we should go ahead with state police. My point here, and I'd like to make it again, is that this crisis that has provided the national consensus for state policing is actually an opportunity for us to fix the policing system in Nigeria, fix the welfare of the police officers, fix the funding of the police, fix their equipment with proper facilities and for proper equipment that they need, top-notch. Give them the right technology-based tools, and then let there be trust between the people and the police. Don't let one politician be in the entire control of the police forces in the state. Let leaders of thought share that responsibility with the governor. We have no reason not to fix our policing with this opportunity that we have, and we should do it. And there you have it. Inside Sources goes full blast after this. And like I said, I'm going to be featuring an exclusive interview with Nigeria's ambassador to the United States, Ambassador Kayode, right after this. Welcome back to Inside Sources. Today, I have an eminent Nigerian, somebody who has served very diligently and honorably with merit in the Nigerian Armed Forces. Somebody who has also led the Directorate of Security Services as the Director General, and who is currently Nigeria's ambassador to the United States. I'd like to welcome, for the first time to Inside Sources, Ambassador Lateef Kayode Kolawole Are. Excellency, you're welcome to Inside Sources.
Thank you very much, Lord. Great to have you in Washington, D.C.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's good to be back there. Yeah. Like I said, I lived in this country for 17 years.
All right.
So it's like homecoming. And I was at your meeting, last week with the, some of the important Nigerians in this area. And, from the energy in the room, clearly there's a lot of expectations about your position. But before we get to that, I wanted to ask you, if you look at where Nigeria is today, now, what kind of future do you think is ahead of us?
Thank you very much. First, I should state clearly that I have absolute faith in Nigeria. I am very confident about its tenacity and enduring nature. I'm also very, very glad to be a Nigerian. I've been around the world and I've seen the kind of stature and credit that comes to me because I am from Nigeria.
Wow.
So to me, Nigeria is a place that, if we look at it in objective terms, Nigeria is a viable state, and it has shown that it could stand the test of challenges over time. So Nigeria, I have absolute faith in the future of Nigeria, the prosperity of Nigeria. And I believe that if we, as Nigerians, we appreciate what we have, and we pool resources to strengthen its viability, that we can help our great motherland, our great fatherland, to optimize its potentials. So the people are important.
Yeah.
The attitude of the persons who call themselves Nigerians, very important to making Nigeria a greater country than it is. It's already a great country.
Yeah, certainly.
So
I remember that you were telling me of your attendance of the Americans' 250 years of their founding,
yes,
and how the U.S. top officials were gravitating towards you, even though there were other African ambassadors.
Because Nigeria is actually, when you like it, the giant of Africa, and I think it's a giant that many thought had been sleeping for too long. and for us to come back into the realm of global politics and assert our interest and assert our weight in terms of what we can contribute. Everyone is very, very interested and excited to know what is Nigeria about at this time.
Yeah, very, very true. So before we get into your new role, so what would be your message? What kind of change in attitude do you think ought to come from Nigerians, whether you're in government or you are not in government, in order to, just like you said, take us to that next level? Because I believe, like you, that clearly Nigeria has a destiny of greatness. Clearly, all the variables are set.
The first point for me, and that is an abiding principle, is that we have to tell our own story. Let the world know the correct perspective about Nigeria. I found out that not much information is out there for people to know, to really be able to weigh what the true state of things in Nigeria is. What you find mostly are the negative percepts, which are in the public domain and the social media. So, number one, let us tell our story. Let us be able to let people know how well we are doing, what we are doing, and how far we have gone from where we used to be. And I think that's a cardinal point. Of course, the next most important point is that you do not amplify the negatives. When you are in a position where you have a lot of strengths, then you do not amplify the negatives, because when Nigerians talk negative things about their country, others are likely to believe them. My experience here tells me they are citing sources in Jos, in Lagos, in Ibadan. They are not manufacturing the information they are using against Nigeria. It is Nigerians who are providing this negative information for people to see as the perspective of Nigeria they want to hold. So if we amplify, I'm not saying lie about our country, because of course there are many areas.
There are issues.
There are challenges, there are problems, but we have seen over the years that we have overcome these challenges and problems. There was a time when we said the problem of Nigeria was we are producing too many students and they cannot find places to go to school. Remember, we had 3 or 4 universities.
That's true.
Today, even along one road, Lagos-Shagamu Expressway, we have about 17 to 18 universities.
True.
So it is not going to be difficult for a Nigerian student who is qualified now to find a place in Nigerian university. But it was difficult for people of our generation there to be able to get. So that education, that's a big step forward. And I'm very, very glad to note that there are spheres, there are areas where we have made so much progress that we should be proud of.
True.
So there are challenges.
Oh, yeah.
We won't be proud about that.
Of course.
But a lot of things we have to be proud of.
And of course, when you're ambassador, your main task is to talk about, it's to give life to the good aspects of our country. Of course, without denying, like you said, what the challenges are.
Correct.
Which is why I wanted to ask you that, in your view, do you think that we have the best system? For instance, do we have the best political arrangement? Are we, people are talking about restructuring. Some people are talking about presidential system being too expensive. That maybe we should try parliamentary. What are your own views generally about these things as a Nigerian who has served very creditably for a very long time?
And Nigerian who has been through many of the phases of the development of Nigeria.
True.
For good and for bad. And I'll tell you that my best lesson in public service is that every solution brings about a problem.
Oh, wow.
We are talking about governance. And we saw the parliamentary system, how it worked. And how it worked effectively in some cases, and maybe a little negatively in some others. But we changed it to presidential system. And now we are seeing all the negative effects of that system, which is not peculiar to Nigeria for us. When people talk about some of the artifacts of presidentialism, like lobbying, and like things that lead to what people call corruption, and so on and so forth. You say, okay.
And the expense is
and the expense. It's a big challenge. But that is what you have chosen. And it is the operators who make a system to work.
True.
Any system in the world.
The operators define it.
The operators define it. The operators actualize the modality for its success. And the operators refine. They refine and chart the course where that institution is going to go. So if our operators can help the process grow, you are neither here nor there with any system. The system is as good as those who
running it.
It's not about the structure, although fundamentally I believe that we must decentralize. And that's the thing everybody's talking about. Even in my experience in the security services and so on, as chairman of the State Security Trust Fund, I saw the weakness of the state government in its ability to tackle very little things at local level. And the state government has to be looking up to the man in Abuja to be able to solve problems in Odeda or somewhere else. Whereas even the man in Odeda should not be looking to the government in Abuja to solve the problem of the world, of the village. So there I saw that certainly we need elements of devolution of powers, and we need elements of decentralization of responsibility. It's not just that you have the power, but you have the responsibility. So if the local government chairman has all the powers and the resources, anything happening in his area, he should be responsible for it. So that should go across the country. It's not limited to any part of the country. So I believe that we have to refine the system to work for us. We have to address those deficits that make it seem as if things are not working as well as they should. Because like I said, every solution creates its own problem. So if you throw away what you have to get a new thing, it's going to have a problem.
That's a very important and profound statement that you made, that every solution brings its own problem. It reminds me of what they tell you when you work hard and you build a success. They say that every achievement, means that they will give you more work
to do. Correct.
Not that you get an achievement and then you go and
relax. That's correct.
So quite a profound thing. Now, recently, the president has actually now sent a bill to the National Assembly for the amendment of the Constitution to allow for state police.
Yeah.
You worked in the security sector. You were Director General of the Directorate of Security Services for 8 years. And then I think you also did some stint around the National Security
Advisor.
And then of course you just spoken about what you try to help them do in Ogun State. So you are clearly somebody that understands our security architecture. What's your own what are your own views, around state police? You've spoken about decentralization. I like to have your take.
There are so many models all over the world to choose from when you are talking of state police. I don't call it state police in my mind. Intellectually, I call it devolution of responsibilities and powers for law enforcement. So I'm not asking you to create police for a state only. I'm saying just look at the practices all over the world. Look at America. You have state police, you have county police, and you have village police. Which means that the local authority then owns the responsibility to ensure peace and order in the area. So when you say, are you for state police or not? I would say that state police is not my concept. My concept is devolution of responsibilities and powers.
All the way down.
All the levels of government. So that they will have... they will be able to live up to the task, and when they don't, they are held responsible for it.
So in your view, how should that be
managed? And like I said to you, look at the international models. I like the models I've studied in India, for example. Despite all the stories, the politicians can use state police against their opponent and so on and so forth. Look at what India has done with it. Today, it's a very good model. And because of the coordination of the structures,
right,
there is no conflict between state and federal. And you even find a situation, I saw a situation with what you call and that structure is replicated in intelligence system and the security system.
Okay.
So that you have the intelligence bureau of the Indians, right, even in the state.
Interesting.
And that flows up to the federal. I remember a particular good friend of mine who headed the bureau at the center. He started his service actually in the state.
Okay.
And then gradually
went up.
Opportunity created for him to go and work at the center, and then headed the organization. So to me, that devolution, but with devolution must come proper coordination, proper control. All the places that have this devolution,
right,
they also have some type of commission or some organ that dictates organizational structures that will dictate performance standards, and that will have regulations which you apply to all. You can't say, oh, this is the way we want to do our own. You have to do your own in accordance with the established law. So it's a very, very viable alternative to what we have, if it is properly managed and properly administered.
Okay. So before we leave that issue of security and then we talk about your current assignment, I wanted you to also, lend your views to the whole idea of the problem of insecurity in the country. Of course, we refuse to sit down with somebody like you and not ask you, so what else do you think we need to fix, to curb this problem?
Look, I'm going to dodge that if you don't mind. But I wouldn't. Dodging is not the right word.
Okay.
Because I don't want to join the train of armchair analysts. Armchair analysts who think they have all the solutions to security problem, but they don't even understand a little bit of it. And that is not just people who don't know, even people who have been in the various services and so on. You don't think every soldier, every sailor is going to understand the workings of the internal security system of a country. So when they are busy sitting down as analysts. And the second point is that I learned something from Liberia. They have a local proverb. They call it kuku jumoku.
Kuku jumoku. Okay.
If you know the inside, you don't know what is going on.
That makes a lot of sense.
That's making a lot of sense. So you can't stay outside and be pontificating for those who are inside about what they can do or what they have not done and what they should do. What I think everybody should do is support the system. Support the system with ideas, support the system with information, and support the system with collaboration and what also goodwill and good officers. No system is perfect. That's why all over the world you still see, despite all the money that people are spending on security, there are still security problems. Even in the best countries in the world. True. So we realize that yes, maintaining stability and security is work in progress. It's ongoing. You must create structures. You must create capacity. You can't just fold your arms to say we did this 10 years ago and we are staying in that. New threats, I imagine. You must create new structures, new regulations, new capacities to be able to deal with those new structures. Not only that, you must be forward-looking. Future threats. You must do all those things in order to stay on top of the game. And I can tell you, I have absolute confidence in the people who are running the system now.
I was going to ask that.
Some of them worked with me, and I know they are fantastic people.
Okay.
If I could do it, they could do it. So it's not about what do you think they should be doing better? And if I have any suggestions, people reach me and I give them. So I'm not your armchair.
I was hoping that, and I think you got to it to be able to say to us that, look, we have the people, and this problem is not going to be forever. I was looking for that kind of assurance. And, you started about it.
Yes, we have the people, but I'll tell you, I haven't been in this security sector for more than 4 decades. The problems I saw as insecurity in 1974 when I was a young intelligence officer in the army.
Wow.
Many of the problems are still here.
But just for context, you graduated in 1970.
I graduated from the Nigerian Defense Academy in 1974 as an officer, but then I went to the university.
Okay.
Later from the army.
Because I read that you had a first class in psychology in University of Ibadan.
The University of Ibadan, I'm very happy to have it. I'm very proud to have it.
By the way, I was from the University of Ibadan. That's quite
that is great. I tell you, my achievement, that is the first class, is just an icing on the cake of what Ibadan gave me. It gave me the ability to be the intellectual that I became, the ability to be the balanced human being by relating with others in the environment of Ibadan. I don't think that I could say the same. I've been to other universities after that.
well,
Ibadan is
let's
I agree with you.
So I was hoping that that based on your own experience, having worked inside, you are still very much connected. Just to are we going to beat this thing? Are we going to beat it? This is security.
No, that's what I'm saying to you. My decades tells me also that for each challenge, we overcome it and we deal with the next one. I'm sure you are old enough to know about Maitesine in 1980.
Certainly, of course.
Where your birthday. I remember we dealt with Maitesine in Lagos. We dealt with Maitesine in Kano. In fact, I think I was embedded into the army operation in Kano in 1981. That cleared the Maitesine from the Kano metropolis. But who are we talking about Maitesine? Religious fanatics. So, if for several years later you are still talking about religious fanatics, it's not strange to me. It is the fact that we will continue to have challenges and we'll continue to be able to deal with them. But as we scale up, we'll be able to reduce the virulence of these challenges. I'm not going to assure you that there is a magic pill that are going to solve all the problems. Some people have proposed to me, in fact, right here as ambassador, a Nigerian wrote, he has a PhD in so. He said I should give him 3 months. He will solve the internal security problem. Well, that's a dream. I wish it was true. I wish it was true, but it's a dream. Every country in the world, as the threats grow, they change. They metamorphose, So, what you have been able to do today to curb the threat, you can't say it will last forever.
Because you don't know.
You don't know what the next threat is going to be. And if you go by our story, look, what they now call Boko Haram and so on, we dealt with the issues between 2000 and 2007.
Yeah, when you were DG.
When I was DG, and by the time I was living as DG, Mohammed Yusuf and all the leaders of the so-called group were in DSS custody, being tried in the court of law. They were remanded in DSS custody, being tried. And we had peace between 2006 to 2007 until they were released again. And the problems that happened. So I'm not doubtful that.
Sorry, sir, just to get the facts clear for our audience. So DSS actually had the guy in custody before the whole thing blew up.
DSS had them in custody, and DSS They were in the court. I think it was Justice Binta Nyako. They were in the front. They were in the courts being tried for terrorism and so on.
Wow.
But part of politics.
Imagine if you are taking care of this.
Imagine if you are not allowed the leaders to go out and the
Look at that.
Yes, that is true. So again, part of the problem is that politics interferes. There is a politicization of the management of security issues.
Yeah, it's very important.
So once you remove that politicization, every criminal is a criminal, whether it's my brother or somebody else's brother.
Yeah.
So we treat them as they should deserve.
Interesting.
That's but I was trying to avoid talking about security. It's your fault.
That honestly is because it's very difficult. Look, I mean, 4 decades of when a journalist comes in here and is not talking about security, they say, do you know what you are doing, young man? Anyway, so let's move to your current assignment, which, by the way, from my own observation and what people have said about you, what I've read, what I've seen myself in your meeting last week, there's a lot of expectation. People expect that with somebody like you in this very important position. But I wanted to start by asking you that when you came here, did you feel the impact of the fact that in the last 2 years nobody was sitting on this chair? Did you feel it?
As we speak, I'm still feeling the impact that for 3 years we didn't have an ambassador. In fact, you will find out that even in my mission here, many of these staff who came from home, they've never had an ambassador. They've never had to work with an ambassador. So it's a new learning experience for them in the mission. Now there's an ambassador on the ground, and these are the way things should go when the ambassador is on the ground. So that's a very, the gap, the lacuna is, there's a clear impact on what we were able to achieve and what we were not able to achieve. What was also of interest to me was, like you said rightly, the great expectations.
Yeah.
In fact, the greatest expectations, I put it. There are some who come to me and say, oh, sir, I came to greet you because now that we have an ambassador, at least I can come and talk about my problem. The man talks about his problem and I say, hey, do you have a clue how to solve this problem? That's what. The other expectation is the current state of affairs with immigration all over the world.
That's from the American side now.
All over the world, immigration is generating a lot of attention.
It is.
And different countries have adopted policies which suit their interests.
Yeah.
It has happened that the policies which have been adopted here has restricted the ambitions and expectations of some Nigerians, both for their leisure, for their business, and for even family issues, family visits. So part of that big expectation is that every day I receive entreaties from Nigerians about visa.
That's a visa.
Visa to come here.
Yeah.
Visa to come here. Sir, my daughter is in Atlanta. I want to come and visit her. They won't give me visa. Sir, I've applied for a program. They are giving me visa, but I don't know whether they will allow me to, whether I can apply for visa after being admitted. So there are issues, the great expectation that now that Kayode is there, the visa issue will disappear. No, it will disappear, but we will create the conditions and the engagements with our partners such that those things that are not particularly directed at us, we will learn how to deal with it. Because one of the things that is not particularly directed at us is the fact that if you come on a visa for a visit, you cannot expect to stay here and then beyond your visit, and then you expect people to condone over it.
Yeah.
No,
And to tolerate that.
because you're a Nigerian. It won't happen. No country will do that. So people have to also learn to live within the rules of the visas they have been issued, of the remit they have been given to visit a country. After all, it's the privilege and prerogative of the country how it receives visitors or doesn't receive them.
Right.
So that, to me, is a very important. Let us moderate expectations. Let us know that we have to live within the rules of the host.
Right.
Let us know that it is not as bad as it's painted, that is as if it's targeted against Nigeria. It's not targeted against Nigeria. It's a part of a broad and global immigration policy, which happens to affect us.
True.
And as we get warmer relations with America, I believe things will begin to ease and become better for us.
Okay, so on the side of the Americans, so how do you assess your reception? You know, we all saw when you presented your letter of credentials to the president. You know, what's your own assessment of that reception? How did they, you know, so they didn't have a Nigerian ambassador for over 2 years. Now you've come. How do you assess the reception of the Americans?
Oh, I saw the enthusiasm and the positive response. Everyone was saying, "Mr. Ambassador, welcome. We have been expecting you." So, I mean, it's good knowing the role a chief of mission plays in this diplomatic dialogue. Everyone was happy that there is a chief of mission for Nigeria on ground who can take issues higher, both at this host level and with my home country. So I received a lot of pleasant affection and very warm reception, which makes me feel very welcome. I remember when I was in the State Department for this last event, I went, somebody say, "Hey, Mr. Ambassador, enjoy DC, enjoy America." So not that I'm only going to be working hard to improve the relationship to our countries, I also be invited to enjoy myself.
Yeah, absolutely. But what was your the experience of your encounter with President Donald Trump?
Excellent, beautiful interaction, and with a lot of warmth. With a lot of warmth. One of the things that touched me most was that after we got to meet each other and so on, and there's this gift-giving ceremony, you pick something.
Right.
So President asked me to pick one medallion, President of the United States.
Okay.
And I picked one to show, so pick another one.
Wow. You got two medallions.
Got two. So that shows me that, hey.
I hope you don't become the subject of heaven.
No, I believe we have excellent reception. We have Nigeria, and the president of Nigeria has good ears in DC, because that was the impression I got when I was well received and pleasantly so.
All right. So now to look at some of the challenges now. So the American government has taken some critical decisions about the country, you know, and now it's up to you to sort it out. There's the CPC designation, you know, on the one hand, but there's also this joint working group that has been set up that has the NSA on the Nigerian side that is chairing, and I think under Secretary of State, you know, policy on the Nigerian side. So how is that going? How are you handling, you know, those very tender and quite possibly tension-laden relationship?
Yeah, you take each one by one. The CPC matter, as you well know, is not a recent issue.
Yeah.
Several years ago, the first Trump administration, we were so designated.
True.
And we were so designated because Nigerians, Nigerian Christian associations, Nigerian groups elsewhere thought for the first time it was to make Boko Haram accountable. But eventually it led to not only the institution, but also the turning of the brush on the Nigerian government.
Yeah.
And that is 2012, several years ago.
Yeah.
2012 or
2012 was the Boko Haram designation.
Yes.
But the first CPC was actually maybe 2020, because the second time of Buhari, certainly, at the beginning, because I remember that, or thereabout, when it was under Buhari.
Yes, it was under Buhari, it was first Trump.
Yeah.
It was second Buhari, first Trump.
Yes, exactly.
Yes, that's what happened. So it had happened, and it happened for the same reasons that it happened now.
Yeah.
In other words, it's domestic politics that drives foreign policy.
Yeah.
There are domestic groups in America who are hankering after that fact, and that domestic group in America includes Nigerian Americans.
Yes, true.
Who are busy canvassing for that. So what we hope we can do is to address the concerns of all the stakeholders and let them see that it's in the interest of Nigeria, greater interest, that we don't hanker after these issues. Because the example I will always give myself is of what benefit was that designation so many years ago to the effort to curb the problem at all. Nil, negative, in my view. It has raised the profile internationally, but of what benefit has it been to solving the problem in Nigeria? Some may say, well, partially made the government do more and so on and so forth. But that's the point. Nobody is going to solve our problem for us. You can help me, you cannot help me carry my load. You can only help me lift it up to my head. It is mine.
So you have to carry the...
I see how to carry my load myself. And no matter the noise other people make from outside, that will help me to carry that load. So the focus is how the load at home is going to be carried by our appropriate authorities, because I won't say federal government alone. Appropriate authorities across the board. So I'm not expecting a quick resolution of the CPC issue, except some of the things that led to it are rolled back gradually.
Right.
But the good news is that our friends, even in the faith community, they are beginning to look at the issue also from a more balanced perspective. And they're beginning to engage.
Okay.
And we're beginning to see that it's not an adversarial relationship between the government of Nigeria and those who are advocating action. So once we can have a meeting of minds, then we can drive in the same direction.
Excellent.
Yes, and when we drive in the same direction, it won't matter what we are designated as, because we will have solved our problem.
True. Very, 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 very important point. So how do you? So the work of the U.S.-Nigeria Joint Working Group, how is that going since you took over?
Oh, excellent. It's excellent.
Because they're providing quite significant support.
No, I can tell you that it's moved from, as somebody described it, a question where we were at the receiving end of some, in quote, hostile action, to where we are now jointly working on the problem.
Yeah.
So, and that is very reassuring. We are in a lot of progress. I was privileged to attend the meeting in Abuja, the Joint Working Group, and I saw the efforts by both sides to understand each institution, because there are very many institutions involved.
That's true.
On both sides. And each institution comes to the table with their own platform.
Exactly.
And so you have to be able to see how we are balancing, understand each other, and then make plans how to work better towards the goal and objective. For example, the military-to-military cooperation.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Everything is going very well. You know, so soldiers don't have all this. Soldiers are able to talk to each other, and they are doing what they need to do.
Very frankly.
Very frankly.
Yeah.
The politicians and the diplomats have a little more nuances.
But now, so I am here, soldier politician, soldier diplomats. So we're going to see both.
Yes.
Which is the beauty of.
Yes. So that is going very well, and also on the diplomatic angle, we are beginning to see more synergy, more contacts, more engagements, and those engagements can only lead to better results.
Okay.
You know, the U.S. government has made it clear to Nigeria what it is interested in. Security cooperation for the sake of stability and peace, and to counter terrorism.
Right.
So on that we agreed.
Okay.
Everything that we can do to make
that
happen, we are working together on that. Of course, the second angle is that of trade, economic development.
True.
To be able to create opportunities for U.S. businesses to invest and operate in Nigeria without hindrance, without the hindrances that are currently on ground. And by the same token, to make it easy for Nigerian entities, Nigerian businesses to partner with U.S. corporate entities, U.S. businesses, U.S. individuals who are willing to invest in Nigeria, to be able to create industries and opportunities for our people, work, essentially in the area of infrastructural development, in the areas of education. We have talked of
a lot of Nigerian students.
A lot of Nigerian students here who are in the process of transiting from one level to another level, and they're having problems. But also interaction between institutions. I remember when I was in Ibadan, I used to hear of Ibadan having a counterpart relationship with some universities in America. But
True.
I remember, I don't know whether you had the same experience.
Some
of my lecturers were from American universities.
Yeah.
Who were 2-3 year tour in Ibadan.
Yeah, I remember that, I did the first degree in history, the professor of in Northwestern, I think in Chicago,
Yes.
was the one that taught us American history. An American woman, actually.
Exactly.
Mary Denza, still remember her name?
Oh, you remember that? Wow. Crush and crush. So we hope to see that's really happening. And my Minister for Education here briefed me on the twinning of Nigerian universities, where University of Maryland, some other universities, we're going to talk to other universities to take counterpart universities in Nigeria so that they can collaborate, just like they used to. And I remember Professor Mabugunje used to tell me about how, as a scholar in geography, he was...
you are in the same faculty.
So
Science.
More of, I didn't meet him there, but as a father, I met him later. And we had a chance to look at his... how he went from Ibadan to go and do his postgraduate, and now people came in geography. It was very interesting. So that used to be the place. There was a high level of interaction and exchange
between Nigerians and the Americans,
both at the student level
and at the faculty.
Level. And one of the benefits I had was that when I was doing my, and maybe that's part of the reason why the first class came. When I was doing my thesis research, I had the opportunity to go to University of Maryland, College Park.
Oh, look at that!
To complete part of my research.
So you came here as a student.
I came here as a student in the final year.
You're talking of the early 70s.
Yes.
Now you're back, 50 years after. Some person on the same.
But the important point was then that the facilities could be created for a student to go to some other university, have some experience. Maybe I was here for about 3-4 weeks, and I went back home. So we hope that kind of exchange, that kind of people-to-people engagement and interaction, now at the academic level, can be resuscitated.
Excellent.
Can be resuscitated.
Okay.
You have any other areas?
Okay, I can imagine. But let's begin to round up because our time is fast wrapping up.
All right.
So, what's your plan for the Nigerians in America? Because of course they have quite a lot of issues around visa, around passports, consular issues, and like you said, if you don't tell your own story, others are going to tell it, and you may not be flattered by what is. So, what's your plan?
First, thank you very much for that. My main objective here is to be an ambassador for all Nigerians, whether they are well-to-do or they are not well-to-do. And we have demonstrated that in these 6 weeks or 7 weeks that I'm here, by being focused on their needs. And their first need is to have a home. The Nigerian mission remains an accessible home for every Nigerian who wants to come here. Will feel welcome, will be attended to with the courtesies they deserve. That will ensure so that they can not only be able to engage and sort out their problems or get good counseling. Because times it's not just solving the problem that is issue, but also getting the right information on what to do, how to go about it. So that's one. Second one is to have a very, very vibrant representation. There are many Nigerians who are falling foul of the law. And since I came, and it's my policy that we must come to the aid and assistance of this Nigerian, as provided by consular prescriptions, instead of they feeling neglected. And I can tell you every week I get about 10. This Nigerian has been arrested in Milwaukee, this Nigerian has been arrested in Tennessee, this Nigerian. In the past, the embassy would not respond, but now we are making sure we respond either through telemessaging, we speak to the person in custody, we make sure they get their rights and so on and so forth. And so that's what we are doing, and we want to assure every Nigerian that's here that we'll continue to do. You'll be surprised that many people who die here, they want to be buried at home. Again, we have been assisting, making sure we attend the local ceremonies for them. We assist them to get the remains back home through the correct documentation. And so generally, any service that the Nigerian is entitled to and expects from the embassy, we guarantee that will be provided.
Excellent.
And we guarantee that we will represent every Nigerian. No discrimination, no profiling or whatever. These are the good Nigerians to be with. These are not the good Nigerians to be with. So, excellent. And I've had very good response from the communities. Like you were a party to one of the sessions, but I've also had 2 or 3 other engagements with Nigerian professionals who are golfers. I've had interaction with Nigerians, many groups. So I'm making myself available to be able to relate with them as their Baba in Washington.
Exactly, which is what the ambassador is. The ambassador is the president, of the Nigerian community, and of course, also the personal representative of the president. The last question then will be: do you envisage that we're going to have sometime soon? Is it part of your plan and outlook that we're going to have the two principals meet? Whether it's President Trump coming to Nigeria or President Tinubu coming to Washington, D.C.?
With the excellent relations between the two, I'm sure we'll be able to get that done one way or the other. Of course, the itinerary of a president determines where they go and where they cannot go. So, but that's part of the process of what U.S.-Nigeria engagement will hope to achieve. Right now, there's a good level of contact and engagement, top to bottom. Good. Even if you have not seen them together physically, there's a good level of engagement.
That is good enough.
And, so I would hope that during my tenure, that a presidential visit will be possible.
Hopefully, it will be a good thing.
It will give me the greatest joy that I'll be able to receive my president here, and I know many Nigerians will be happy to have him here. But then it depends on contingencies.
And it's a lot of work. Thank you so much, and I wish you all the best in this job. The Nigerian ambassador to the US is by far, one of the topmost ambassadorial postings that exist. And based on your credentials, people say that you are very prepared, and what I have seen and what I've heard, I have no doubt in my mind that you will be able to attain those goals, and I pray that God will help you, sir.
Thank you very much, Laulu.
And thank you for coming to Resources.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Great pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
And then you have it, that is a soldier diplomat, like we said, you know, a retired colonel, retired director general of the DSS, who is now Nigeria's ambassador to the United States. And that's another edition of Inside Sources. Like we always say, Nigeria will prevail. It means that Nigeria will win, partly because we will keep talking about the major issues. Thank you for watching. My name is Lau Luapande. I'm the grace of God. I'll see you at the next edition.